President Barrow attends the African Union Summit in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea. Chinese president held talks with UN High Commissioner for Human Rights. An Africa food importation rate is projected to significantly increase by 2025, with this and more coming ahead on The World Today. Hello, this is Africa TV and you are watching the World Today News Bulletin. Many thanks for joining us. I am Amadou Kante, and now the news in detail. And we begin with matters of the presidency, because President Adama Barrow on Thursday left Banjul for the African Union Summit on Terrorism and on Constitutional Change of Government in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea on the 28th of May 2022. This is the first time visit of President Barrow to the Central African nation since January 2017, after going into exile of his predecessor and former president Yahya Jammeh in the Central African country. The summit is scheduled from 23rd to the 28th of May 2022 and will also include a session on migration, refugees, returnees, and internally displaced persons, a meeting of the Executive Council, and an extraordinary humanitarian summit and pledging conference. The Gambian leader visits Equatorial Guinea a day after his government unveils its position paper on the TRC recommendations on alleged high-level atrocities and human rights violations committed during the 22 years rule of former President Yahya Jammeh, of which has connection to the matters to be discussed during this session. Jammeh lost power in 2016 presidential elections to President Barrow, calling it one of the most transparent and fair elections the country ever witnessed, but later claimed some malpractices and demanded a fresh election, leading to a political impasse. Now, elsewhere, Ugandan health authorities are widening their surveillance, which could help in the detection of the newly reported monkeypox disease in different countries around the world. Now, authorities are on alert after the disease is reported in neighboring country DR Congo, and are seeking technical support to deal with the eventuality or with any eventuality. Now, the border screening protocols between Uganda and DR Congo are still put in place to help monitor the situation. Here's more details of that in this report.
Uganda has not detected any case of monkeypox yet, but scientists are keeping a close eye on any spread of the virus. The disease is endemic in the DRC, and a recent outbreak has seen the virus spread to over 10 countries outside Africa. At least 58 people have died and over 1,000 have been infected with monkeypox in the DRC since the start of this year.
We do not have the reagents and supplies to test for it, but we are in contact with the DRC to send us some of what they use. We are also thinking of either having one or two people go and train from there. It wouldn't take very long to do a training, and then we start testing for the disease here.
Monkeypox is spread through close contact with an infected animal or person. Symptoms include skin rash, headache, fever, and body weakness. It can be fatal if not treated quickly. The virus is carried by animals like rodents and monkeys, and contact with these animals can lead to contraction of the disease. Monkeypox is common in the equatorial rainforests of Africa, in countries like the DRC, the Central African Republic, and Nigeria.
We have a very big number of animals and plants. The environment is good. And of course, with a big number of plants and animals, you would also expect a very big number of pathogens. So these are continuing to come out. And as the world becomes more and more particular about diseases, of course, more and more diseases are going to come out.
Trade and traffic between the DRC and Uganda is high, and scientists warn the risk of the virus spreading is too. Screening at the border, which was introduced during the COVID-19 pandemic, remains in place to prevent the spread of monkeypox. Those crossing are subject to checks and hand washing.
And a report there is coming from the Ugandan capital, Kampala. Now, coming back home, the University of the Gambia School of Business and Public Administration students, 18th Executive Council, staged Economics and Management Students Association Week at the School of Business and Public Administration faculty in Kanifing. Now, under the theme, University Students in Action, Investing in Entrepreneurship, Development for a Productive Youthful Life, the event aims to avail students the opportunity and promote entrepreneurship while discouraging irregular migration. Moses Emendi has the details in this report.
The Ecomansa Week is a highly recognized event in the Gambia University's School of Business and Public Administration roster. It is a week-long of various activities such as trade fair exhibition, community outreach, cultural performance, sport, and march past to discourage drug abuse and sensitize Gambians about the dangers of irregular migration. Yahya Jammeh is the president of Ecomansa.
Well, as the School of Business and Public Administration, I believe we have a greater role to play in order to address issues we are facing as students of the University of the Gambia. As business students, we believe the level of unemployment is alarming in this country, and as youths, we can only address it by coming up with initiative. As business students, knowing fully well that not all of us will be sitting in offices. That is why we desire to stage this Ecomansa Week to be centered on entrepreneurship, so as to address the issues and encourage students of the School of Business and Public Administration and university at large to engage themselves in entrepreneurship so as to be job creators instead of job seekers.
In complementing the theme of the event, the Executive Council organized a trade fair on the campus for student entrepreneurs to make sales. Mr. Jammeh says this move is to help in promoting students' business. He added that about 20 student entrepreneurs applied to bring their business to the on-campus trade fair exhibition, but only 10 were accepted. The aim is for a larger number of students to make sales in the campus next time. Mahmoud Jallo, Secretary General of Ecomansa, speaks on their responsibility.
As an executive council, especially as students of the highest learning institute in the country, the University of the Gambia, we feel that we should not only be students that will go to the university, get degrees, and go out there to the world to search for jobs as job seekers. We believe while we are going to school, we can contribute our quota to national development, which is why the Executive Council will look at very pressing issues that are hindering youth and especially young people that we believe we can cope. So that is why we came up with this Ecomansa Week.
He said the council seeks to engage into consultative dialogue with state parastatals to address unemployment and many other issues. He added that the week is crucial to capacity building and investment in students, but raising funds for the event was a challenge. The School of Business and Public Administration is one of the major schools at the University of the Gambia, and Ecomansa is part of the most proactive student executive council at the country's highest learning institution. Moses Mendy, Eyeafrica News.
Now moving on, Chinese President Xi Jinping on Wednesday held a virtual meeting with UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Michelle Bachelet, in Beijing. The two leaders discussed the state of human rights matters in the Asian country, and the UN diplomat praised China's commitment to upholding human rights values. Here's more details of that in this report.
Chinese President Xi Jinping has met with the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, Michelle Bachelet. In their virtual meeting, President Xi said China pursues a path of human rights development that suits its national conditions. She said China puts people first and that it respects each country's approach to and governance of human rights. The president also said that human rights issues should not be politicized and should not be used as a tool to apply double standards. He added that China will continue to support UN efforts to affirm human rights. Bachelet acknowledged China's achievements in eliminating poverty, protecting human rights, and realizing economic and social goals. She also noted China's contribution to safeguarding multilateralism and supporting sustainable development. Her visit to the country is the first one by a United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights in 17 years.
Back in the Gambia, in the early hours of Wednesday morning, an accident occurred along the Buvizon-Talinding Highway involving a community ambulance and a motorcycle and 4 vehicles. Aisatubi Kujabi has the details in this report.
According to some eyewitnesses, the accident involving an ambulance, a motorcycle and 3 vehicles was severe, but no life was lost on the spot. However, some of the victims are said to have serious injuries, leaving them in critical conditions. The ambulance that is said to be involved in the accident is from the Talinding community and was not carrying a patient at the time. Sirawali, an eyewitness, told Eyeafrica TV that the motorcycle rider could be blamed for the cause of the accident. I was on the other way coming when the motorcycle passed by me to the junction. By then, the ambulance was also coming. The ambulance was trying to stop but could not. He tries to take the other way but could not. The ambulance then knocked him down and went up, then touched the pole. The pole saved the ambulance a little and went on to the other vehicles. The guy in the other car has a serious injury in his head. Another eyewitness also explained how the accident occurred whilst he was on his way to Westfield.
I was on my way going to Westfield. The highway was only one way as the president is traveling. So this motorcycle crossed in front of the ambulance. That is the time the ambulance hit his bike. The ambulance came to my car and then the other cars at the back. What gave me luck was the sleeping police. The door of my car and the boot are the affected areas, but the other 2 guys are in a very critical condition.
The recent traffic road accident in the Gambia have triggered concern among Gambians, leaving many worried about the surging frequent road accident in the tiny West African nation. More than 7 road accidents are recorded within the Greater Banjul area in the last 2 weeks alone. According to latest WHO data published in 2018, road traffic accidents deaths in the Gambia reached 657, or 4.72% of total deaths. The age-adjusted death rate is 47.51 per 100,000 population. For Eyeafrica News, Aisatubi Kujabi.
And from that unfortunate report there by Aisatubi Kujabi, we would now take a break and come back shortly. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Africa Global is the first and biggest private real estate developer in the Gambia with a presence in 7 other African countries. We are launching the development of the first smart and most modern office and retail towers in the Gambia called TAF Twins, located in the heart of the Canifing institutional area and 10 minutes drive from Banjul. TAF Twins is designed to have 5 floors of office spaces ranging from 50 meters square to over 1,000 meters square, 2 elevators, central air conditioning, 24-hour electricity and water supply, with the ground floor reserved for banking, supermarket, restaurant and coffee shops. For your bookings and reservations, please call now on 376-2333 or 776-2333.
Welcome back. This is the World Today News bulletin live from our studios in Banjul. And once again, many thanks for joining us. Now, officials, of course, of People's Democratic Organization for Independence and Socialism Party on Tuesday emphasized the need to build a country where political parties could mold the citizenry as good leaders of the country and gather information on what it means to be a citizen and a representative of a country. Halifa Saleh, Secretary General of the PDOI's party, made these remarks while speaking to journalists at the party's headquarters in Serekunda. Moses Emendi has more details of that in this report.
One of the oldest political parties in the country, DOI, continues its ongoing reflection on the political immaturity and election misdemeanor in the Gambia. The latest came during the party's press conference meant to review and reflect on the just concluded council by-election. It is widely alleged that political parties in the country have a culture of using money to convince the electorate to vote for them in the elections. But DOI party said its councillors' victory at Bundung 6 Junction Ward in the council by-election and the coalition's victory in the 2016 presidential election are perfect scenarios where the formula of penniless politics triumphs over politics of inducement. Halifa Saleh is the Secretary General of the party and observed that DOI did not make clarifications on the parliamentary and council by-elections because it wanted its councillors to contest on their own without any form of influence of the party.
We can say that this augurs well for DOI as a party. We've assessed the results of not only the two by-elections, but also the other by-elections held in West Coast region. We'll leave other parties to do their assessment, but from our own assessment, we have seen that where you have independent candidates, this is where the NPP won. But where it is a straight fight between the party and another party, we've seen that they've lost in both wards. In the Bundung 6 Junction ward, it was NPP versus PDOIs, and we won. In the London ward, many independent candidates. We also lost. We want to tell the nation that we have gathered sufficient information to know that parties alone do not lead to victory in elections. Candidates matter, and the selection of candidates matter.
The DOI leader revealed that their trajectory is to nurture citizens and leaders who can deliver, adding that individuals will be left on the ground to contest elections but not to hang in corners at night to buy votes. Honorable Salah says DOI is not such a party and people.
That the sovereign Gambian people are the owners of this country, owners of its sovereign wealth. That such sovereign wealth must be utilized to eradicate their poverty, any injustice perpetrated against them, and any ignorance that they are subjected to.
He said community development fund of the municipal councils is the basis of development, explaining that 60% of generated revenue should be utilized for development in the areas to ensure the sharing of the national cake. He added that to facilitate development, councils need the government's support, which is why the government ought to provide 25% development fund for the councils. In DOI's mode of choosing candidates to contest in parliamentary and council elections, it is the community that selects candidates to represent them and not a committee within the party. The veteran politician hopes for all the other parties to follow suit in such practice. It says it has set an example for all political parties in the country to no longer wish to win elections through bribery and corrupt means. Moses Mendy, Eyeafrica News.
And the report there by Moses Mendy brings us to the end of this news edition. But for more details on this and other stories, we will, of course, you will log on our website on Eyeafrica.tv. But for now, many thanks for the pleasure of your company. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.